cracked open and hell came bubbling to the surface. Now it's up to me, Lieutenant Baird, to round up Kilo Squad and send those grubs back down their holes. Back in your holes!
People Can Fly give good ears. Creator Epix handed over the keys to the sci-fi slaughterhouse to its right-hand studio, letting the support team run riot with its own campaign set before the original Gears of War took place. Yes, we're in prequel territory, and People Can Fly do a good job imitating the smaller scope of the first game, but yet they retain a huge hordes of locusts, knowing that greater numbers is the only thing likely to make a gear vet sweat. Those looking for spectacle that matches or exceeds what went before will be disappointed, but the developer makes good on sticking true to the action beats laid down by the franchise creator. It's hard to see the stitches between the two's work. The main campaign is told via flashback during the trial, as then Lieutenant Baird and his squad give their testimony to the events that led up to their arrest. The story is divided into chapters as each squad member gives their testimony, so you play each cog in turn, with a final 5th chapter taking place at the courthouse in present day. While the telling's different, the broad strokes of the story are fairly familiar. A squad of soldiers fighting their way across destroyed towns, seeking a weapon to take out a big bad, and having a bit of banter in between carving locusts into chunks. As much as the story, the broad strokes of the campaign gameplay are equally familiar. Up to 4 players can join in on the citywide trek that breaks down into a series of engagements with locust soldiers and beasts. Fight, clear an area, move on, repeat. Judgment has 2 new mechanics that aid in keeping the Gears combat greased. First is the declassified missions. Before many of the key objectives in each mission, 42 in all across the campaign, you'll stumble across a massive glowing symbol. Activate it, and gameplay conditions for the next section are altered to your disadvantage. For the most, these variations go one of 2 ways. Either your line of sight is reduced through the likes of fog, smoke grenades or gas, or, as you'll see later on, whenever you take damage. Alternatively, you'll be forced into using a particular loadout for a stretch. Say, once where you had long shots, you're now stuck with pistols. There's also the much touted S3, short for Smart Spawn System, which randomizes locust types every time you return to an area. Both ramp up the challenge and are the game's highlight. Every declassified mission is worth doing. Both are essential for Gears vets looking for some grit and added challenge to the familiar. Elsewhere, Gears of War 3 scoreboard style arcade mode is added in as standard into the campaign, and there's also the return of the ongoing enemy kill count rating, as the scoreboard compares your tally with friends. But as for where we'd be spending most of our time, in multiplayer, Judgment lacks the full quota of modes that almost caused Gears of War 3 to burst. On disc, we're looking at 3 competitive modes: Team Deathmatch, Domination, Free-for-All, stretched out over only 4 maps. Another 4 maps support both survival and its competitive team and turn-based variant Overrun, and both survival and Overrun are diluted cocktails of previous Horde and Beast modes. There is a season pass on offer with an extra 6 maps and 2 more modes, but for on-disc offerings, Judgment's sorely lacking. A shame, because the maps are fantastic. It would be better to have more of them and more choice in modes. There's no complaints when it comes to the visuals. Graphically, Gears of War still amazes, and Epix Tech has seen us out the generation's end without losing steam. You'll notice small inconsistencies though, the odd NPC and enemy getting stuck on scenery, and one showdown saw the remainder of the charging enemies suddenly disappear before our eyes and the section deemed completed. This might be the rarest of occurrences, but it's something you wouldn't expect from a series of this caliber.
This is my game!
Judgment feels tailored towards the social. The game feels less about introducing new players to the franchise, and more like an excuse for one last get-together for those of us who have been with the series since the beginning. People Can Fly know exactly who's coming to the party. Gears of War is still one of the best exclusives for the Xbox 360. As such, you're comparing Judgment against its predecessors rather than standalone, and as such, it comes up short. It feels less of a fanfare, nor quite the amalgamation of everything that's went before. The multiplayer options, while individually great, are sparse as a collection, yet the tweaks to the mechanics make sense and work well, and coupling higher difficulties with declassified missions will give fans a workout on the campaign. And that's what Gears of War Judgment really is. Another intense and highly enjoyable romp in the Gears universe. And for some of us, that's going to be enough.